Howdy y'all, welcome to Nerd Studio. Alright, I'm back with the Tavor rifle. I wanted to take a couple of minutes and talk about the internals of the gun. I did a little of that starting out, but I wanted to get a little more in depth and talk about some of the things that I've learned about how this gun breaks down and some of the internal quirks. I love the rifle. I'm having a blast shooting it. There are a couple of minor details. So just real quick, I'll go over some of the things I've learned about the gun, and I'm just pulling the manual out just to give you guys a little insight. I have the 16.5-inch barrel here. They call the operation closed rotating bolt long gas stroke on piston head. That sounds really impressive. It's 7.9 pounds, 29 and 1/8 inches total length. The barrel is 16.5. This one's in flat dark earth. It has pop-up sights, which are really cool. I talked about that in the last video. I won't go too much into that. The other kind of cool thing, and I don't think I mentioned it in the last video, is you can buy a 9mm conversion kit for this, and I've watched the videos and seen guys swap that out. Look pretty cool. Alright. There were two real quirky things that I found about how this gun breaks down, so let me go through those. The first thing I want to talk about is the bolt carrier stop assembly. Now, the manual on this rifle is extensive. It's the best manual I've ever seen for a gun, including shaded areas that talk about, you know, when they're discussing this particular area, they've shaded it red. The manual is really nice, but there were a couple of things that just, you know, are difficult to try and explain. And the bolt carrier stop assembly, which is this guy right here. There's something that can happen when you're pulling this gun apart that is very difficult to explain how to put it back in. And in fact, you'll see a note in the manual that says, note, perform this procedure only if you have accidentally removed the entire bolt carrier stop assembly from the rifle. What they didn't say was just how easy it is to accidentally remove the bolt carrier stop assembly. What's behind this guy is the trigger pack, so let me go ahead and pop that out so you can see what I'm talking about. So this guy comes up, and behind it is your trigger pack. What they don't explain is that if this drops down, which is entirely possible to do while you're replacing the trigger pack, it's a bear to get back in. The only thing holding that in right now is the trigger pack. If I remove the trigger pack, this slides free, and so it's quite easy to accidentally remove this guy. And I've tried to get a camera in there so I could show it to you. Basically, the frame of the gun sits like this, and it has a couple of a groove here, and the bolt carrier stop assembly has a metal spring that hangs down off from it, and you've got to take that metal spring, slide it along here, and then into the groove, and then pull back up so that it seats itself. And then, heaven help you, if you happen to be messing around with the gun in that orientation, and it slips back out, you got to do it all over again. Now, I imagine if you did this a bunch of times, it would get easier to figure out, but My recommendation is be really careful when you're replacing the trigger pack or doing anything with that under that housing, and make sure you don't take the thing out. It's just a pain in the butt to get back in there. I would like to see Tavor put a more close-up drawing or picture, or release a video with a cutaway or something so that people can see it, because it is really easy to get that thing out. Alright, enough said about that. Okay, so the next part of this video gets into the standard disassembly and maintenance of the gun. Let me say this again. This is a critique of a small issue that they didn't really point out well inside the manual, and it's not a big deal. But I'm going to show it to you because I think it probably drives most new Tavor users nuts, because I'm a new Tavor user and it drove me nuts. You disassemble the gun by popping this pin out and use a bullet or a punch. The buttstock will come off and you pull your bolt out. Now I'm going to set the gun aside. This is really about how to take the next step of disassembling the bolt. This little guy here is called the bolt rotation control bar, and in the manual it shows you what you need to do to pull this bolt apart. And the step is right here, and they say you want to pull these things all the way to the rear. The thing that is really hard to tell is that right back here on this diagram, it shows that rotation control bar protruding out of the back of this plastic piece here. And I didn't see it right away, and so it took me a little bit to figure out, and that's why I was having trouble disassembling the bolt. So what happened was I pulled it back here, and I pulled this all the way back like it says, and so assuming I followed the instructions, I then started pounding on this release pin here, and it was going nowhere. So looking closer and closer at the diagram, I realized what you actually have to do is really give this guy a good yank. And you can see now it's popped out of the back here. Once you've done that, this slides out really easily. You don't need a punch, it just comes right out. Then remove your bolt and your firing pin, and you're as disassembled as Tavor recommends for cleaning. They say anything beyond that would be gunsmithing. So I don't gunsmith, so there you go. So far I've been able to clean everything I needed to at that step. I'm big into manufacturer's suggestions, so let me see if I can put this back together on camera. This is not your daddy's AR-15, as they say. Alright, so you can see that took me a little bit to get that back in, and then I found that once you do, you're going to pop that guy back down so it's no longer protruding, and then you're ready to reassemble your rifle. Okay, you're back together. Whew! Alright folks, well, that's what I've learned so far about the inside of this guy. It's short of those couple of quirks, it's pretty basic. Basic in the sense that you've got a few steps that you need to go through to break it down and clean it. And, 4 or 5 times of doing it, I'm sure, being successful at doing it, I'm sure it'll be fine. So, There's nothing overly complicated here from a newbie Tavor owner perspective. It's just a couple of those, you know, kind of learning curve problems that I like to share. Okay, hey, always remember, anyone can shoot. If I can do it, no mechanical skills, no great physique, you can do it. And you can have fun doing it. And you can be good at it. That's the cool part. I think my skill is ever increasing and it feels good. And it's something that, you know, is accessible to anyone. And I like it a lot. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/whacknerdgonesouth. Come comment. Lots of you have been commenting on the videos. I really appreciate that. I try and answer everyone that I can, and I really enjoy that part of doing these videos. It's a lot of fun for me, and I hope I'm not too big a buffoon when I reply. And click subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. I'd love to say, you know, there's free T-shirts and you know, tall stacks of hundreds, but you know, subscribing just gets to the point where you get to hear more from me. And so if you think that's valuable, click that subscribe button. All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.